So welcome to the Transitions Academy Fall Convening. We are so excited that you're joining us for a full day of sharing and learning from colleagues from all around the state. The Fall Convening is part of a year-long series of support offerings designed to assist programs and their partnerships in developing, strengthening, and updating their bridges and ICAPS IETs. So we're also here to expand the partnerships between adult education and career and technical education. Throughout the day, we are going to share with you more about the many opportunities for support you have in building and sustaining your transitional programs. And speaking of our day together, when you check out our agenda, you will see that we have a variety of general sessions like we're in now when we're all together, and breakout sessions when you'll have multiple choices. Rest assured that all sessions are going to be recorded and they will be available on the site where you joined in the next couple of weeks, so you can check out all the sessions. We'll also share any handouts and slides on the site. Please also notice that we have purposefully planned time between the sessions so that you have time to take a break, to check your email, and to come back fully engaged with the sessions that you're attending. We hope that planned break time allows you to be fully present for all the sessions you attend and to give your full attention to the speakers who graciously have given of their time to share their knowledge and experience with you. So for now, please let me introduce myself. My name is Sarah Goldammer. I'm from the Southern Illinois Professional Development Center, part of the ICCB, the Illinois Community College Board Adult Education Professional Development Network. So now I'm going to turn it over to my partner, Amy Julian, to introduce herself and to get us started.
Thank you, Sarah. Good morning, everyone. My name is Amy Julian. I'm the director for the Illinois Center for Specialized Professional Support at Illinois State University. We partner with the Illinois Community College Board and with the Southern Illinois Professional Development Center for the Transitions Academy. So we're very excited to have you all with us today. I have the great pleasure of introducing Whitney Thompson. Whitney is our Deputy Director for Workforce Education at the Illinois Community College Board. She has been with the Illinois Community College Board, serving in multiple different capacities in career and technical education, workforce education, and now also over adult education. And she's been with ICCB for 9 years. Whitney is also a proud mom of Charlotte and excited to, well, that's a big credential, and excited to have you with us today, Whitney. So thank you for joining us, and I'll hand the floor over to you.
Thank you, Amy. And I want to welcome you all from the Illinois Community College Board. This work is sponsored by the Community College Board, specifically through our Title II Adult Education Grant and our Perkins Career and Technical Education Grant. So it represents the true partnership of this work. We are investing equally in this work. And so with that, you know, it takes a true village, it takes a true partnership. Hence the purpose of this particular work. So, and I want to, before we kind of jump into today, I want to thank the immense work and recognize the immense work and thank the Southern Illinois Professional Development Center under Sarah and the Illinois Center for Specialized Professional Support under Amy for putting together this academy year after year. It keeps evolving, it keeps improving, and the support just continues to match what the field needs. So before I kind of jump into some additional remarks, I do want to, we have over 100 folks on right now with up to 200 registered, and we will have folks throughout this academy. So I'm just trying to get a feel for who our audience is today and who is here engaging with us. So we have a poll. Is that something I can do, Amy? Okay, perfect. So you can select multiple. So are you from adult education, representing career and technical education, representing workforce, other, multiple of those audiences, right? Many of you wear multiple hats. So please vote. It's multiple choice. And we'll give everybody about 30 seconds to do that. All right, let's see our results here. So As I sort of suspected, we have great representation from our adult education providers, and then a pretty decent showing from our career and technical education and workforce. So if you answered other, I'd love for you to put into the chat sort of what that other is. Maybe that's the support service function. I'd love to know.
So I received a message that the chat is not enabled for this.
I have corrected that.
Okay, thank you.
Today's going to be interactive. As we're kicking that off now. So we appreciate your virtual attendance. I know it's hard sometimes to keep engaged, but as Sarah mentioned earlier, we've built in great breaks to allow for the email checking and meetings and everything else that you all have to take care of. All right, 6 people said other, but no one's putting that in the chat. Maybe they will do that here soon. So we'll move on here. And I'm gonna, okay, great. So we have some academic deans, other workforce, career pathway for healthcare, construction, and digital literacy, representing that work. Great. I'm going to apologize here for my mirrored background. I don't really know how I did that, but if any of you all are paying attention, I've somehow have that backwards.
Don't worry, it's showing up correctly, Whitney.
It is for you all?
Yes.
Okay, good. That is good. All right, so thank you so much for indulging me in that quick poll. Like I said, we're going to be engaging today and interactive. This isn't just us talking to you. What we wanted to do, or what I wanted to do to kick us off here, is to sort of set the stage and level set for the rest of the academy. This truly is an academy. It's not just a one-time event or information sharing. As you all know, we've asked for applications for teams to participate in the academy. So this is open to everyone, this virtual convening and professional development event. But then we have a follow-up on the 16th where we're going to be in person working as a part of our teams to continue building out our bridge and integrated education and training programs. And that support will continue throughout the year with support from the community college board staff, as well as our great partners at ICSPS and SIPDC. So someone asked me recently, you know, why we're doing the Transitions Academy. We've done it a number of years, many years since I've been at the board. And, you know, people know this work already? Like, we're doing this work already? Like, why do we keep doing this? And there's many reasons for that. One, many of you are probably new, right? There's been extensive turnover in the field over the last couple of years. So those veterans who were here in the beginning, working on accelerating opportunities, if you remember AO, right? Those people are retired. Some of those people are retired, sitting on a beach somewhere, right? So we've got some new folks in the room, or new administrators and staff who are working on this work. And so it's important for us to continue to deepen the professional development in this area, because it is such a priority for us at the board. We also still see sort of misconceptions in the field, whether it's by our partners or by even our own adult education and CTE administrators, right? Talking about bridge and IET is the same thing, right? Bridges are not IETs and IETs are not bridges, bridge programs, as I'm speaking about in adult education. So we want to make sure that folks know exactly what is a bridge program and what is an IET, and that there are differences, significant differences between the two, right? Both are a part of that transition, but they both play a different role. And while we have seen growth in the number of programs, Bridge and IET programs, over the last several years, the number of students who are participating in these programs continues to be low. And we have heard of the many challenges as it relates to implementation, right? Getting enough students in a particular class for it to go, getting buy-in from leadership to support this work. Scheduling is a challenge, additional partner buy-in. And so with that, the team teaching component, we hear all of those challenges, and that's something for us to continue to consider how to support you in this work. And that's kind of the purpose of this Transitions Academy, to support the development and implementation of this work. A couple of years ago, I talked at the Transitions Academy about, adult education has been carrying the torch and has really been the leader in this space, but it is a true partnership, and we need our training partners, our career and technical education providers, to take the torch and help lead this work. And if you're having trouble making the case to leadership in order to do that, I encourage you to chat with us so that we can remedy that, because really at this point in this environment, it shouldn't be hard to make the case for this. Enrollment, although we are seeing a slight uptick this fall, has been going down for almost 20 years in the community college space. And so this is one way to continue to grow enrollment as we create pathways into our programs. We always hear from workforce folks that we need skilled, educated people. And what more could you want from a student than someone who is motivated? For those of you who work with adult education students, they are motivated. If you ask them why they are here, they have an answer for you. It's because I want a different job. I want to set an example for my children. I want to prove that I can do this. I want to continue my education, right? They have a list of responses for you ready, because they are there on their own fruition, motivated to be there. If you asked a group of senior high school students, or even a group of sort of traditionally aged college students while they are there, they're going to say, I'm not sure, I'm required to be here, So it's just, you have a group of motivated students who are ready to move on on their education path. With that, we know that our adult education students face many barriers traditionally to accessing education and persisting in education. So I continue to push you all to rethink the ways in which we support students, making sure that we have those wraparound support services on the ready for students, right? Many of our students are one flat tire away from crisis, mental, economic, etc. And so we need to be there for them to help them persist on their education journey. That also means that we need to sometimes rethink about what that journey looks like, and the ways in which we meet our students and continue to support them through their education journey may change. And this is something we've been doing with some folks in welding and industrial maintenance on creating competency-based education pathways, changing the way in which students can persist through their programs, right? And so I want to continue to push folks in the field, even adult education, to think about that too. And if that means that we need to change the model in some way, we are open to consideration. We want to continue to improve and evolve to meet the needs of students. So, I charged the adult education folks at the Forum for Excellence, which, if all of you were there, that was such a great professional development event. I want to salute our partners who put that on. But I charged them with, ask why we're doing this work. Why do we have to follow this particular policy, right? In this space, we no longer should do things because that's the way it's always been done. And so I see the need for improvement in our IET models. And I want to make sure that that's clear as we move forward, that we're providing that support to you, but that you are providing feedback to us in terms of, why is something a sticking point, right? In what ways we can help you better make the case and support you on this journey. So with that, I'm very excited to turn it over to Dr. Julian and Dr. Goldhammer to talk through, making that it's an equity imperative, making the case and understanding how Bridge and IET programs can contribute to your equity goals and provide additional opportunities for students. Thank you.
Thank you, Whitney. We so appreciate your support and being here and welcoming and getting us kicked off today. I am going to stop sharing for just a second so we can move to the next session. So for those of you who are attending, if you're wanting to know, you don't have to get off this session and join another one. We are going to go seamlessly into the next session. Did you see how I said seamlessly with kind of like a little bit of question mark? So it remains to be seen, and we will see it right now, whether it's seamless. And let's see. All right, so there we go. So our first session that we're going to present today is ICAPS, IETs, and Bridges, an equity-informed approach. And there's just a couple of really great things about this session. One is Whitney just told us that we need to make sure that we understand the difference between Bridges and ICAPS. So that's going to be answered in this session. Also, the DEI, the diversity, equity, inclusion, and access work that we do, and our work with all the transitional programs, the ICAPS, IETs, and Bridges, they're just near and dear to all of our hearts. And so we want to make sure that we start today by understanding how they work together, how they are not separate pieces or even separate topics. They are definitely fused. So I'm going to welcome you all again. My name is Sarah Goldhammer. I'm here with Amy Julian from Illinois Center for Specialized Professional Support and Brittany Boston. They're our partners in training. And then also Tara Schwab, who's part of the SIPDC team. So the four of us could not be happier to start off the day with this topic and sharing this with you. So let's go ahead and get started. And let's start first with what our goals are for the next 45-ish minutes. We want to start off, first of all, by hearing our students' voices. And that is always important, that we keep those students at the forefront and thinking about what are the best, every decision we make and every program that we develop, how can we keep our students in the front of that whole decision-making process? So we're going to hear from a student in just a minute. We're going to define our statewide equity and DEI visions, and Amy's going to do that for us. We're going to also explore equity visions from programs around the state. So some of you are sitting there and you don't even know, but your vision is going to come up on the screen in just a minute because we want to relate those all together. We're also going to view the transitions offerings through that equity lens so that you make sure you see how they go together. And so we are going to do a little bit of a review of Bridges and ICAPS IETs. Some of you may already be very familiar, and that's okay. We're going to ask you to look at them through that equity lens and really consider that messaging that you can share both to your students, to your teachers, to your senior leadership, to your community, and to all of your partners. And if you are fairly new, then we want to make sure that we level set and that everybody who attends today gets that thorough understanding of what Bridges are and what ICAPS IETs are. And then lastly, in our lofty goals for just a few minutes, is to recognize how Bridges and IETs, ICAPS IETs connect with UDL, Universal Design for Learning, another thing that all four of us are passionate about. So let's go ahead and get started.
We want to start with hearing from a student. How are ICAPS and IETs and Bridges supportive of equity initiatives? So let's hear our student voices.
By being in the Bridge classes to better myself, a better opportunity, a better future, and better career. By being in the Bridge.
All right, I know that was very short, and we'll tell you later. You know how we said that we had a lot of resources for you? That's one of our new ones, is we have a series of bridge videos that we're going to share with you today, and they're on the ICAPS website. But that just gave you a little glimpse into those bridge trainings and hearing a student tell about the importance of the work that you're doing out there in the state. So Amy, do you want to tell us a little bit about the equity vision in our workforce system?
Yes, so I'm going to talk this morning about two different ways to approach equity, the equity vision for the workforce development system, and then also DEI or DEIA, diversity, equity, inclusion, and access. So first, let's start with the equity vision. So equity is the state, quality, and ideal of being just, impartial, and fair. The concept of equity is synonymous with fairness and justice. It can be achieved and sustained. Equity needs to be thought of as a structural and systematic concept. So really, we're looking at the whole system, and that's where universal design for learning comes in and is so beneficial, and also universal design and that marriage with human-centered design that we hear about from our workforce development friends. An equitable workforce system is one where diversity, equity, and inclusion are foundational, in which race, ethnicity, gender, socioeconomic status, health, ability, and other demographic and geographic characteristics no longer predict one's outcome in the labor market. The application of an equity lens for the workforce system ensures that all individuals have equal and inviolable dignity, value, and opportunity to participate justly, fairly, and fully in all dimensions of academic, social, civic, economic life to reach their full potential. Workforce system resources will be distributed in a balanced and fair manner. And so this came out of work with the Illinois Workforce Innovation Board. This has come out within the 4 core partner work, and we're looking at what the workforce system says. I do want to say that, applying that equity lens is an ongoing process, and embracing equity, diversity, and inclusion to analyze, and really diagnose the impact of the design implementation policies of underserved populations. So it is a process, and that takes us to our next slide, which is really many of you who are, again, adult education, career technical education, you've heard this language before, DEIA, diversity, equity, inclusion, and access. This was recently announced that the governor's office is pushing forward with the DEIA initiative. And so I wanted to share what ICCB and the Transitions Academy and Adult Education and Career Technical Education have really looked at as definitions of DEIA. So diversity is the presence of differences that may include race, gender, religion, sexual orientation, ethnicity, nationality, socioeconomic status, language, disability and ability, age, religion, commitment, or political perspective, populations that have been and remain underrepresented among practitioners in the field and marginalized in the broader society. So diversity is really that embracing of our differences. Equity is the promoting of justice, impartiality, and fairness within the procedures, processes, and distribution of resources by institutions or systems. And that takes back, it really does marry well with or dovetail well with the workforce development definition of equity. Tackling equity issues requires an understanding of the root cause of outcomes disparities within our society. And then to take it a step further beyond just the equity discussion or equity conversation, it's really into inclusion is the outcome that we're looking at. Inclusion is the outcome to ensure those that are diverse feel and are welcomed in our classes, in our classrooms, in our programs. Inclusion outcomes are met when you, your institution, and your program are truly inviting to all. To this degree, to which diverse individuals are able to participate fully in decision-making processes and development of opportunities within an organization or group. And then finally, that fourth pillar is that idea of access. And again, when we're talking about our programs and we're talking about what really is that leveling or that equity initiative or that equity ideal, is that we have access for our students. So access is ensuring that students have equal and equitable opportunities to take full advantage of their education. Providing additional services or removing actual or potential barriers, UDL, that might prevent some students from equitable participation in certain courses or academic programs. And that's really where we focus on that idea of access. So with that, that was just a nice level set to kind of set us up for where we see equity visions around the state. And Sarah's going to take us for that.
Thank you, Amy. And before we move on, let me just make a couple of comments. One is Whitney mentioned before that, creating ICAPS is difficult work. It's not super easy. But I hope that we're starting to help you think about why it's important. And also hopefully when you look through all that Amy shared with you, you can see how giving transitional programs and allowing people to begin training before they finish their high school equivalency or have a complete mastery of the English language, how putting those together really does support the DEIA work. So that's kind of what the lens that we want you to look at. And then before we go to look at a couple, I want to ask you all to think about, do you know what the vision is for your institution? Are you already aware of it? Because if you're not, and you're not one of the next 3 slides that I went and got something off of your website and is going to share, then I really encourage you to take the time to go find out that information. I would encourage you to put it up in your office to make sure that in all the decisions that you're thinking about, that you are thinking about what that vision is, and specifically how adult education, career and technical education, and our training partners all can work together to fulfill that. All right, so Rend Lake College, you guys, basically, I just went to a whole bunch of websites and read what you had on there, and then I picked a few from around the state. So let me show you, this is what Rend Lake College has on their website, that they provide educational opportunities across cultural and economic boundaries to the diverse student population we serve, committed to students' success and achieving their educational goals, and to meeting our community-focused program objectives. You know what? Adult education and career technical education really play a pivotal role in that, fulfilling that mission. And so that's why we want you to think about, what are you doing and how can you message that to those you serve and to your senior leadership of how you are fulfilling this vision. John Woods Community College enriches lives through learning by providing accessible educational opportunities and services at exceptional value. Again, think about, and actually Monica Foster from John Woods is going to be one of our presenters this afternoon. And so she's going to be sharing some of how their program helps to fulfill this mission. Polish American Association is one of our CBOs. They have programs and services that assist in the empowerment of people as individuals so that they may reach their full potential in all aspects of their lives. Number one, love that word of empowerment. And that is what you all do. That is what you all do every day by the programs that you develop and implement and offer. And then full potential. In UDL work, we talk a lot about people being able to reach their full potential. So again, we love that crossover. I just had a couple there, but now it's time to think about your vision.
So we encourage you to take the time to be familiar with your equity vision for yourself, your program, and your institution. It's definitely time well spent to take a minute to study that and also connect your work, your bridge and your ICAPS and IET work, especially to these equity visions.
And as Tara mentioned, making sure that not only you know what your equity vision is, but how does it connect? How does your ICAPS connect? How do your adult ed programs, CTE programs connect? Your support services at your institution that you're providing, making sure that we're using that lens, that equity lens that we love to talk about so much, and we're building those connections and seeing it in action within our programs and our institutions.
And then as we take a step further, who needs to hear about how your work is fulfilling the equity mission of your institution and your community? What leaders need to hear about this important work, and how can you talk about that to people and leaders who need to hear it? The Transitions Academy. This is an entire year program that is filled with opportunities to make those connections. Hear how others are making those connections between our greater equity work and our bridges and our ICAPS. There's so much sharing that happens starting today And as we move to our cohort combos in a couple of weeks, and then as we move through the year, we have plenty of virtual learning communities for both Bridges and ICAPS as we gather together and really focus on our year-long commitment to transitions in Illinois. And here's some of these opportunities listed on a slide. So we talked about the first three just now. We also offer mentoring, and that's connecting programs to programs. Sometimes we'll hear of a similarity or have someone ask for a mentor for Bridges and ICAPS. So you have plenty of time today to hear from some different programs, get some contact information, also reach out to us to connect you to other programs. We have our ICAPS website and webinars that are happening throughout the year. So make sure that you are, paying attention to your mailings. And I have a resource sheet here with all of that information on it that I just put in the chat. Our transitions newsletter that comes out thrice yearly and from the Southern Illinois Professional Development Center, and it highlights a lot of our partner work. So make sure that you're paying attention to that. And also, of course, like I said, reach out to ICSPS, SIPDC, and all your partners for support. We love talking about Bridge, ICAPS, IET development throughout Illinois and kind of seeing similarities, hooking people up to get the best information and, to share. We share our great work, so we don't have to start from scratch, and we love to do that. And of course, we have our platforms that we all have, professional development trainings, typically in an asynchronous nature, and many are available at any point and having to do with our transitions.
And I do want to mention that a lot of the resources that Tara just went over are on our ICAPS website, which I shared the link in the chat earlier. But if you are on this Zoom, you had to get to the ICAPS website. So feel free to browse around on there and see the different resources, the Bridge videos, the teacher talk show videos, all of those are accessible on the ICAPS website. If you have any questions or difficulty finding anything, you can email me, Sarah, Tara, Amy. We're happy to direct you to where you need to be to find the resources that are beneficial to you. So we're going to move forward again with that wonderful equity lens, and we're going to go through a fairly quick review, touch base of what Bridge and ICAPS IETs are. And so for those of you who may be new, this may be the first time you're walking through it. For those of you who are veteran staff and have been around for a while, we want to make sure that all of you are looking at this review through that equity lens. And then after the review, we're going to ask that you help share some of the equity vision of ICAPS IETs and Bridges.
And I'm muted. I am putting another link in the chat to our Jamboard, and Brittany so nicely explained how we kind of have some options for you to be listening, making connections. So as you listen, if something comes to mind that you can share that you're doing, please put it in this Padlet. We kind of took a snapshot of that Jamboard. Actually, it's a Jamboard, and kind of showed you what we're looking for and what, just showing you that you have an opportunity to share that. And again, people love to learn from each other. And so let's make this the most meaningful time we can for you. So some may use the slides to make new connections as they're listening and share, while others will listen and focus on the Jamboard later, which is great. If you'd like to leave your name on the Post-its with questions, we'll go through these and we'll make sure to follow up with you. If we don't get to them during the presentation, we will reach out. And we will also be sharing our contact information, throughout the Transitions Academy fall convening today for other questions as well.
All right, so thanks. Let's go ahead. Whoops, hold on. Oh, that took me to, so this actually took me there. So I'm going to go back and, but that shows you what it will look like when you click on that link that Tara shared with you. So please share. For those of you who've been around a long time, we'd love to hear what you have to say. But now we're going to go through that little review that we talked about. For some of you, review. For some of you, it might be the first time. So we're going to start with a statement. And this really helps, I think, to frame and thinking about our transitional programs. Bridge training is very broad, and ICAPS IETs are specific. Bridge may cover an entire career pathway or maybe even multiple career pathways, where an ICAPS IET is something that results in an industry recognized certificate that can take people to the world of work. So let's start with that. And then we're going to unpack bridges a bit. So Tara, go ahead and tell us a little bit more about bridge.
Bridge programs assist students in obtaining the necessary academic, employability, and technical skills through 3 required components. First is contextualized instruction, career development, and support or transition services.
Okay. And as I said, bridges are broad knowledge, and they cover a career pathway such as maybe health sciences, manufacturing, which includes welding, human services, and education, and even finance. And there's 16 career pathways, and it can cover any one of those, or even, as I said before, a multitude or several different career pathways together. So that's for bridge. Also, bridges are taught by adult education. They may be enhanced by guest speakers who join the class, such as employers, career instructors, career navigators, but the primary instruction comes from adult education.
Okay, and really quickly, I did just fix the Jamboard. Sarah, if you don't mind taking the next slide, I'm just going to put that back in because I had to switch it so everyone to editing access. So I'm just trying to make sure we get that. Thank you.
All right, so then let me go ahead and say that bridges lead to ICAPS IETs, which Amy and Brittany are going to talk about in just a minute. They also could lead to post-secondary education or right to employment. They can include a certification, but that's not required in a bridge, where in ICAPS it is. And bridges are usually taught for one period of time, such as a semester, but again, that can be somewhat fluid and flexible. And I will say that ICCB is working very hard to find ways to say yes to, as long as you can fulfill the components of bridges or ICAPS IETs. There's been a lot of innovation over time, which we will highlight through the rest of the day. But if you had an idea and you want to talk about it for any of those, again, we're here to help you. So bridges incorporate industry knowledge into basic skills instruction. So the instruction that you're already doing, but it's contextualized with industry knowledge. It's also contextualized with career expectations into the adult education instruction. And then lastly, transition skills such as resume writing, interviewing, and college success into adult education instruction. So that gave you a very quick overview of bridges. And now let's hand it off to our partners to talk about ICAPS IETs.
Yeah, so Amy and myself are going to discuss ICAPS IETs. And for some of you, you may be wondering, ICAPS IETs, why do they keep saying it together? Whitney mentioned IETs. What is it? What does that mean? Are they the same thing? So ICAPS stands for Integrated Career and Academic Preparation System, and that is Illinois' brand of IET. That was something that we termed, I say we like I was a part of it, I really wasn't, but it was termed in Illinois for this integrated education and training. And so taking us to IETs, like I mentioned, is that integrated education and training, and that's the federal name. That's what's the terminology that's used in WIOA, that Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act. And ICAPS IETs are, in our world of Illinois, the same thing. It's just that ICAPS actually came before the federal IET. And so we've done some work of branding that and marketing that. And so that's what we refer to IETs in Illinois as ICAPS. So they are one and the same. And that's why you hear us say ICAPS IETs. So there are 3 core elements within ICAPS IETs. So you have adult education and literacy activities, workforce preparation activities, and workforce training. And as Sarah had mentioned earlier, ICAPS IEPs are very specific, and they lead to an industry recognized certificate. So some examples, and this of course is not an exhaustive list, but you have phlebotomist, HVAC technician, early childhood education teacher or aide, and IT customer support. So ICAPS IEPs are taught by a career and technical education instructor at a community college. So much like the image that you're seeing on your screen with the welding, you have that CTE instructor teaching the welding course for their students. It could also be by an industry trainer, such as a Microsoft certificate program. ICAPS can vary in their length depending on the type of certification. So the key is for the training to be long enough to prepare someone for employment through their certification, but short enough to get our adult education students moving towards their goals through the integrated approach to education and training. And so I'm going to pass it over to Amy to talk more about that team teacher aspect and the different models of ICAPS IETs.
Thank you, Brittany. So one of the things that makes ICAPS IET different than Bridge, so we talked about Bridge, which is predominantly adult education. ICAPS IET is that wonderful marriage between adult education and career and technical education. And one of the important and vital roles that adult education plays is that team teacher and support course that is taught. They play a vital role in providing the team teacher with at least 25% overlap. So 25% overlap within where adult education and a career and technical education teacher are team teaching. And we have a whole slew of resources and videos on team teaching. So if that's a new term for you, check out the website, dig a little bit deeper, do that wormhole and figure, and ask questions. Please ask questions because that's one of the things we're here to help with. This overlap can be fulfilled through co-planning, auditing, or helping in the class itself, or sharing class instruction, whichever works best for the program. And we've seen it in a variety of ways. And we have a fantastic, as I said, video series on that. So check those out because you can actually hear the team teachers talking about the different ways in which they team teach. And it is a lot about how people work together in collaboration and coordination. So it's a lot of fun to look at that. The support course can be taught in addition to the training and is often taught in tandem. And a support course can focus on the material taught in the class and incorporates basic skill instruction to support the understanding of the industry knowledge and skills that is being taught. The support course can be open to all the students in that particular course, or can be just open to those students who are ICAPS students. And we've seen it ran both ways, which is very beneficial to the students in both capacities. So we have had students say, you know what, I want that extra tutoring cohort. I want that extra support, and it's been very beneficial. So it is a partnership. And I want to kind of point out, if you haven't noticed, we really demonstrate that partnership not only with ICCB, so you have career and tech eds involved, adult eds involved, and then workforce education is involved, with the professional development partnership or marriage that we have between the Southern Illinois Professional Development Center and ICFPS. ICFPS historically more career and tech ed focused, SIPDC historically more adult ed focused. We've been working on this for about 13 years together, so we're in a good solid marriage there. But we want to see that also in your areas, in your local programs, at your institutions, where you're having that partnership between career and tech ed and adult ed. And that's why we ask for the cohorts convos that's coming in a couple of weeks. We ask you to come together and to have those conversations and really represent both sides, adult education and career and tech ed. Sorry, just a little soapbox there. ICAPS IET leads to employment or additional post-secondary education and training. And this is one of the things that it is required. So you're going to need to look at the program and say, okay, where is it going out to? Is it going out to post-secondary education, or is it going out into some kind of workforce training? And then the next slide takes us to the models. And this is where, or this is our illustration of where the bridge programs lead into the ICAPS programs. So you have model A, pre-bridge, contextualized, adult education, career development, transition services, technology skills, employability skills, and then your levels there. Model B for bridge program, contextualized adult education, career development, transition skills, technology skills, employability skills, and then that is just a slight higher level with your TABE scores. Moving into, because that's like a pre-IET, and that's how we've named that in that scenario. Moving into ICAPS Model 1 and ICAPS Model 2. And I'm not going to read all of these to you, but I'm going to go through and highlight those that are similar. So both models have that contextualized. I always forget we have this slide. Thank you. Contextualized integrated adult education curriculum, career development, workforce preparation, transition services, technology services, employability skills. And we have that employability skill framework that we really build off of. Comprehensive student support. The big difference is model one is a college credit bearing or career and technical education is your workforce training component. We have shared learning objectives, team taught environment, and then integrated support classes are all very much a part of ICAPS and every ICAPS model one and model two. A model one ICAPS program results in high school equivalency, your HSE, industry recognized credentials, employment opportunities. It also has that transferable college credit and stackable college credentials. So that's your model one. Model two, similar, just a little bit different. Still has that same column one there that you're seeing, contextualized integrated adult education curriculum, career development, workforce preparation, transition services, technology skills, employability skills, comprehensive student support, all essential parts of ICAP. In model two, you have technical workforce training instead of that college recognized credential or in place of that. And then you all still have your shared learning objectives. You still have your team taught environment. You still have contextualized support classes. It is a non-credit or articulated agreement with the community college is absolutely possible and possibly for credit. And it's still, is exactly the same in resulting in a high school equivalency, industry recognized credential, and possibly employment opportunities. So a lot of similarities, just a little slight difference in the deliverables of those two. And we want those for both all of our programs across the state. I do want to also say there are colleges that have both model one and model two, and that is possible. And if you have questions about this, we have Angela, who's a fantastic resource at ICPB, but the four of us, and you're all on my screen like that, so the four of us, we look like the Brady Bunch today. We're all available to support you as well. And we are here to answer questions. And if you do have questions, reach out because we are very excited and engaged in this work and want to help you be successful in your work.
All right, thank you, Amy. So I'm going to bring up this next slide and I'm not going to read it to you, but I'm just going to point out a couple of key points. And again, I went and stole this from College of Lake County to highlight some of their great work. But we love when research-based models come together with specific examples and applications in our state of good work. And that's what you see right here. We have outlined the bridges and the ICAPS IETs. We've told you about those. As Whitney mentioned earlier about accelerating opportunity, and she said that some of those people were retired and some of them are, but they did great work. And some of us are not retired yet. And some of you know who you are out there. We appreciate all of your work because they set the stage for the great place that we are in. ICAPS IETs are challenging. They do require a fair amount of extra planning. However, they provide exceptional results. And one of the, and it's on the screen right there. So you don't have to listen to me. You can listen to Yemia, who here is talking about she became an auto mechanic. She reached out to learn English first, and she completed her ESL classes. Then she was in an ICAPS program to get additional academic and social support with a cohort of similar students. And then she went on to get additional training, and she was eligible for some scholarships. And so I love her quote at the bottom: the instructors at CLC explain everything well, and the automotive classes give you great hands-on education. And this morning, if you came to morning coffee, and there were a fair amount of you who did, we had an auto instructor who introduced himself there, and it's great to see the work that is being done around the state. So on your screen, it shows you the value of the programming that you're doing. So we want to, first of all, thank everybody who has been doing this exceptional work across the state. And Brittany several times has mentioned the ICAPS website, and we love that. But a lot of the things that are on the ICAPS website are on there because you all did that work and you all shared that with us. So I'm going to put a little plug in now. I always love, especially after the Transitions Academy fall convening, to gather more resources, because this is usually the place where I go, oh, that's cool, we need to add that on. So for those of you that have something that could be added, please reach out. We're going to put our contact information up in just a minute. but think about not only what are you doing, but how is it supporting that equity mission of your institution? How is it giving access to people who may not have access? And ultimately, how are the employers in your community benefiting because of the programs that you're running?
And I realized I should have said before on the Jamboard, in case you haven't used them before, let me just take a couple of seconds in case you want to share about something that Sarah just said, something we said earlier, or anything that we're about to see. There's a little column on the left and the fourth icon down. If you hover over it, it says sticky note. And if you press that, you can pick the color of your sticky note and type and then hit save, and it will post to the Jamboard and you can move it around and everything like that. Nothing's worse than trying to use something and you just need to know how to click the one button. So we're going to move on to talk about universal design for learning. So I'm wondering how many people have heard about this, and whether you have or not, we're going to watch a short video just to kind of talk about an introduction to UDL and get us thinking about that. As ICAPS and bridges naturally embody many aspects of UDL, and the continued study of UDL allows us to infuse solid equity practices.
Universal Design for Learning, UDL, is an approach to improve and optimize teaching and learning for all learners by setting clear, rigorous goals, anticipating barriers, and proactively designing to minimize those barriers. You may know of universal design in architecture. It's an approach to design that works to ensure products and buildings can be used by anyone, regardless of their level of ability. When a building is designed for flexibility, it can serve everyone, with or without disabilities. Let's consider this universal design approach in learning. What difference would it make if educators looked for barriers in the design or in the curriculum rather than in the learners? What if we built flexibility into teaching and learning? Why should we look at our design and infuse UDL? Research shows the ways people learn are as unique as fingerprints. Variability in learning is the norm, so curriculum needs to be designed from the start to meet the diverse needs of each learner. When we design for the average learner, we miss reaching nearly everyone because no one is average, at least not in every area. When we design for variability, we are minimizing barriers and increasing access for all our learners. Variability is contextual. That means a learner may need the design to be different depending on topics, the environment, or the time or day of instruction. Every learner brings their own background, strengths, needs, and interests. To meet each learner effectively, the learner needs should be addressed through choices and access to provide authentic learning experiences. Designing for individuals in the margins helps everyone by providing support and challenges for all. We know from our friends at CAST, the Center for Applied Special Technology, pioneers in UDL, that universal design for learning equals learning for all. Remember, small changes make big impacts. What's one small change you can make?
So if you want more training on UDL, we offer individual program trainings. We have equity pathway training through SIPDC. We have many webinars and resources available through both of our centers. And we also have the UDL videos here. Here's a link to access to that. Amy posted a different link to our participant who is having audio issues. So they are posted in many places, and there you go. And please reach out to us if you'd like to learn more and or have some individual program training available for UDL.
All right, thank you, Tara. All right, so we're coming to a close here for this session, but so let's wrap it up. And what better way to wrap it up than to hear from another student voice? How does ICAPS, IETs, and bridges support our learners and support equity initiatives? This is a video, another one from College of Lake County. I will tell you also, another shameless plug, Mary Lynn Carver from CLC is presenting today, and we're going to highlight the bridge videos as well as the training that they provide at their institution. There's some models that you can replicate, and that's what we do. at the Transitions Academy Fall Convening is we share resources and help each other out. So this tells the story of ICAPS support. It's a very short little video, but let me bring this up.
I feel it's unique because they take care more about you as a person. I finished my education in Mexico and also took some regular classes here. And I had the chance to compare how the teachers treat you as a regular student against ICAPS or Bridge program or adult education program, and it's completely different. They care about you, they know you're working, they know probably you have kids or family to support or take care of it after the class or before the class, and they care about your needs, your insight, your feelings, and the
If you're a college student, keep watching. One of my
All right. Yikes. Sorry about that, folks. Hang with me here. And Amy, can you take us home?
I feel it's unique.
Yes. It's a great video. And I also posted in the chat, if you want to see more fantastic videos like that, that's at ICAPS website. And again, if you can't tell, we're pretty passionate about what we do. We all get very excited about what we do, and we do share not only that love for universal design for learning, but also for ICAPS. This is our contact information. You can reach out to any of us. As I said, Sarah and Tara are more adult education specific. Brittany and I are a little bit more career and technical education specific. But when it comes to ICAPS and the Transitions Academy, all four of us work together very regularly. I think we talk pretty much every day. Didn't realize
Huh.
that. So
Amy, that's a sign of a good marriage, right? You said
that is a sign of good marriage, so we're doing good. But if you do have questions, need support, we are here to help, and these are the faces of the individuals who are here to help. If you need information regarding Transitions Academy or what's happening over the next few days, I also wanted to just make you aware, yes, all of the recordings, all of the sessions will be available on the website that you use to get into this particular portal. So come back to that site, visit it again. We'll be posting recordings, we'll be posting the presentations, all of that stuff will be up. Also, you can find all of our contact information on that website, as well as Angela, if you have fun budget questions, and all of those questions we reserve, all that fun we reserve for Angela regarding budget modifications and things like that when it comes to any issues there. But the fun stuff, how do we get the program started? What can we do to get more engaged? How can we help our students? Those are things that we can help you with as well.